Hi everybody, Terry Beech, your Member of Parliament for Burnaby North Seymour. We're going to be trying something new today. We're going to do more of a long form, more casual video, I guess. And specifically we're going to do it about the mandate letters. What's so great about the mandate letters is that they were made public for the first time in 2015. These are letters from the Prime Minister to individual ministers running the ministries, and it's kind of like a glimpse in the future of what the government's going to be working on. And so we're going to start with the Ministry of the Environment and Climate Change, which now the minister is our neighbor in the North Shore, Jonathan Wilkinson. To start with, we should look at what his predecessor, Catherine McKenna, had accomplished in the first 4 years in our first mandate, starting in 2015. I think one of the most notable things from the last 4 years was implementing a price on pollution. This was taking British Columbia's lead. In fact, we've had a price on pollution in BC for more than 10 years now. BC was the first jurisdiction in the country to have one. We've seen great results with it. In the first 5 years that British Columbia had a price on pollution, we saw per person fossil fuel usage decrease by 16%, while in the rest of Canada it increased by 3%. Well, now that policy is nationwide, and we're going to see over time how that allows us to meet our climate change targets. The other thing that we're doing to decrease greenhouse gas emissions is we've been phasing out coal, and of course we've been putting other policies in motion to make sure that 90% of our electricity is generated from non-emitting sources. This comes from a whole number of initiatives that go beyond really the Ministry of Environment and Climate Change. As Minister McKenna said in her last mandate, climate change is such an important issue that all ministries and all ministers need to be working on it. But unprecedented investments in new green infrastructure, unprecedented investments in public transit, more SkyTrains, sea buses, buses on the road. We also introduced the Oceans Protection Plan and focused on increasing our number of marine protected areas. It's interesting, we've been a country now almost 153 years, and up until 2015 we'd only protected less than 1% of our ocean, which is, it's a big problem when, we actually have the largest coastline in the world, and we have a lot of ocean that we need to protect. So in our first 4 years we were able to increase our marine protected areas from less than 1% to more than 13%, in fact almost to 14%, and we're looking to do more. If you want to get more up to date on what we've done to today on fighting climate change and protecting our environment, I would suggest you go to our website, terrybeachmp.ca, and download this report. It is a fantastic way to get yourself updated in very quick format. It's all in bullet form on everything that your government has been doing on these specific issues. But today, because we're focused on mandate letters, we really want to talk about what's next. So I think the first thing that stands out for me follows some of the things that we also said in the last election, which is that not only are we planning to hit our targets that we've set at Paris for 2030, we are planning on exceeding those targets. And in fact, now we are committed to going one step further than that and making all of Canada a net zero emissions country by 2050. So the question is, how are we going to get there? Well, one of the big first changes that we're going to make is we're going to have 5-year legally binding targets. So these are targets that we must meet, that will be passed through the House, that will set interim goals. So all Canadians will be able to follow along and make sure that we're hitting those targets. It's going to require a whole bunch of new initiatives and new investments, not just investments in things like clean tech and in public transit, but in new initiatives. For example, we have a strategy to get to 100% zero emission vehicles by 2040. We've already invested hundreds of millions of dollars in new electric charging infrastructure. You'll see new charging stations happening all across Canada. Constituents have regularly told me that they want to be able to drive their electric vehicle from Vancouver Island to Prince Edward Island and beyond into the United States and into Mexico. And that infrastructure we're seeing is coming forward. We also pushed a $5,000 electric vehicle incentive, which had phenomenal results. It was best received here in British Columbia, where we have a matching incentive by the provincial government. And so we've seen this increase in electric vehicle purchases. With more electric vehicles on the road, they'll utilize more of the infrastructure. With more of the infrastructure, more people will be willing to use electric vehicles, and this is a virtuous process that will see us over time hit that target of having no more emitting vehicles sold in Canada by 2040. I talked about marine protected areas and about how we got to almost 14%. Well, now we're going to go to 25%. And not only are we going to go to protecting 25% of our oceans, we're also going to protect 25% of our land. Another big step that we're making in the environmental portfolio is to put a ban on single-use plastics by 2021. Now, that's not going to be easy. It's going to take some significant changes. But here I'd like to give a tip of my hat to our own community. Deep Cove was the first community in all of Metro Vancouver to ban plastic straws, as an example. And now, when you go to restaurants, not just in Deep Cove, but throughout Metro Vancouver, in fact across Canada, you can get paper straws. Yesterday I was at a restaurant that had corn-based straws that are good in water for a couple of hours, but if they stay in the water, they dissolve. There's also pasta straws that I've seen. So people are figuring out ways to innovate out of plastic use, and this is important because we have an ocean that can't take having more plastics in it. If we stay on the same path that we're currently on, we will actually have more plastic in our ocean than biomass by 2050. I mean, that's only 30 years from now. Could you imagine having more plastic in our oceans than living creatures? We just can't have that. And so this is going to be a big step to supporting that, because 90% of our plastics here in Canada either end up in the landfill or end up in the ocean. And we need to stop that. But not only is this good for our environment, this is also going to be good for our economy. Deloitte did a study that showed transitioning away from the use of single-use plastics will actually help us create 42,000 new jobs right here in Canada. And as we become a leader in the world with these new innovations that allow us to replace things that we currently rely on plastic for, we will create innovative new products that we can then export to the rest of the world. So this is one of those decisions, like with fighting climate change, where we are doing the thing that is right for the environment and right for the future of our kids and our grandkids, but we're also doing something that's going to help grow our economy and create new opportunities for people that want to work in these clean tech industries. For those of you watching this that are residents of Burnaby North Seymour, you would have already received your first survey. In fact, we've been getting those surveys back for you to highlight your top 3 issues that you think I should be working on during this session of Parliament. Well, I'm happy to say that our second survey will be on this issue of single-use plastics. It'll be an opportunity for you to share your feelings on this, whether or not you have any ideas that you think should be implemented. And something else that we're going to try is we're going to start putting our regular mail, so we do a householder that goes to every single household in our riding every single month. We're going to start posting those online. So if you also would like to participate, or if you have some feedback that you'd like to send in, you can go to our website, terrybeachmp.ca. You can download the most recent survey, you can fill it in and send it in to us, and we'll take all points of view into account. So that's a good preview of the Ministry of Environment and Climate Change. If you personally would like to know more about what they're going to be working on, I invite you to read the mandate letter. It's a very important piece. You can skip right down to the bullet points, which get into the details. And if you're interested in other topics and other ministries, then I would suggest that you watch our other videos. They're going to be available on our Facebook page or on our YouTube channel. And otherwise, thank you so much. Let us know in the comments below what you think about this video and whether we should do more of them.